Hi guys, it's Shayla again from Freckle Finance. So it has been a long time since I posted a video and I figured to jumpstart back into posting videos. I don't know if it's going to be as frequently as I was previously, but I thought I would give an overall update because honestly, a lot has happened and obviously I've progressed in my pregnancy. So I'm just going to keep the pregnancy stuff at the end of the video and we'll cover everything else beforehand. So first I thought I would give an update on our house situation. So our house is still not finished with construction, but we feel like it's probably going to be finished between 45 and 60 days from now. So that is going to be after the baby is born, and I will get a little into that at the end, like I said beforehand. But we have gone to check on the house and the progress looks really good. I mean, last time we checked and we can't walk inside the house. They have laws here, at least it seems like it's laws that prevent us from going inside the house to inspect it, but we are allowed to see it from the outside. And there was no floors, probably no countertop, stuff like that was not completed yet, but the whole structure of the house is done, and so it's pretty much just having the house come together. The fence was not up in the backyard yet. So I have been packing boxes here and there for things that we don't use very commonly or don't need yet. So like anything that's for the baby that we don't need for the first month or two has been packed away. So we will get on that a lot faster coming up, but it's been very difficult for me to pack boxes. It's extremely exhausting, so haven't gotten much progress on the boxes. But one crazy thing in regards to this move, we got the renewal back for our lease to renew for 12 months. Obviously, we're not going to renew for 12 months, and they had a list of all the different months. Now, for anyone not familiar, there is no rent control here. This is something that we are definitely not used to from Canada. There is rent control. There's a lot of laws that you can only increase rent by a certain rate, and they actually just improved the rent control laws in Ontario as well since we left. So they more than doubled our rent if we wanted to do month to month, which obviously that's what we want to do because our lease ends on September 29th. We expect our house to be done mid-October. So obviously, you know, we don't want to be here and re-signing a lease, and there's some steep cancellation fees if you break the lease. So we were really frustrated. We looked into Airbnbs, how much a hotel would cost, how much it would cost to do 2 moves or like a second move, how much it would cost to hire movers, because when the heck am I going to go into labor? We don't know. And it was just like all this insane stuff. But ultimately, my husband did a good job in negotiating and getting them down. So we are paying more per month for this one last month, but it's not like anywhere near the price that they were charging us. It's just a little bit extra in comparison, and overall ends up cheaper than being an Airbnb. And you know that your landlord is trying to rip you off when moving, like literally the cost of moving, putting your stuff into storage and renting an Airbnb for the month is more cost effective, taking into account that that's a lot of additional work to do. Like the savings for us was going to be worth it. So very, very excited to move into the new house, but yeah, it's not ready yet. I'm getting kind of impatient. We have now pretty much settled on what mortgage we're taking and who we're going with. And I can explain that all in a video later on, kind of what mortgage we decided, and I will let you guys know I'm not going to show those numbers, and going over the spreadsheet would take a really, really long time, but I can give the basic understanding of what kind of spreadsheet I did to evaluate which mortgage is best. So obviously we end up having to weigh our risks on certain things. So, you know, an ARM loan has more risk to it, but it's cheaper, etc., etc. But I will do a video because I spent a really, really long time calculating the differences. And some of them were like higher down payments, but a lower interest rate, or a slightly higher interest rate with lower down payment. And so this is obviously not necessarily the Dave Ramsey way. This is literally figuring out which one gets us the best net worth in the end, which increases our net worth the best in the end, taking into consideration how much risk we want to take on with fluctuation in rates and stuff like that. And then on to our visa status. So I believe I had mentioned when we first came here, we had the TN visa, which is just something you can honestly get at the border. Now, I'm not sure I ever really explained, but you can actually be stopped at the border for this visa. It's not something that you're guaranteed to be allowed through. And so that was really stressing us out. We were basically advised not to leave the country, so we haven't left. I mean, it would have been nice to go back one more time before, I gave birth, but we were advised not to because of the type of visa and the fact that we were applying for a green card at the same time. So we are still currently on the TN visa. However, we were approved and effective October 1st, we are being switched to an H-1B visa. And by the way, when I say you can be stopped at the border, I mean, like, if we go back to visit, even though we have an approved TN visa, they can stop us. Will they stop us? Probably not. But since we bought a house, we're like not risking it. And we also no longer have health coverage in Canada. You give that up when you like, we've paid our taxes already for last year, and we sent a form saying we're non-residents, so we're not paying taxes. We don't get our health benefits in Canada, so we can't be stuck in Canada. You do not get your health coverage reactivated for 3 months. It was just better that we stayed here anyways, just so everything went smoothly. But yes, as of October 1st, we will be on the H-1B visa, which is a lot more secure. We cannot be stopped at the border. Once it's approved, it's approved. We also have progress on our green card as well. So with the green card, I don't fully understand. So we've been approved to proceed, sort of. So there's something they do called biometrics. Not really sure, haven't gone through it yet. But we received that that will be probably the next step. We've done a doctor's appointment, so we've done the physical and everything, and I think in 10 months we're expecting, maybe 8 to 10 months, as long as there is no delays on the green card, I should be allowed to earn an income. And so that will be pretty cool. That doesn't mean we have the green card yet. So there's a part in the green card process where the spouse can start working, but it doesn't mean you have the green card yet. But we are working towards that green card. As a kind of funny update, I have always wanted to do jury duty. And I actually got one of the notices in saying, that I'm supposed to go do jury duty. And I can't. I'm not an American citizen. I can't do jury duty. I also wouldn't have been able to because the likelihood that I would be a breastfeeding mother at the time would have prevented me anyways. But man, I've always wanted to do jury duty, and I finally get a little glimpse of it, and yeah, I knew that I wasn't going to be allowed to as soon as I saw the notice, but I never received a notice in Canada. I don't really know anyone who has received a notice in Canada, but I guess it's run through the DMV for these things, so they don't really know. They just take the names. They don't really know if you're an American citizen or not. So on to the baby update or pregnancy update. So while filming this video, I am 35 weeks and 3 days, and a lot has changed for the pregnancy, but it honestly happened last week basically. So everything was going smoothly, and I don't want to say it's not going smoothly now, but I'm now labeled as high risk, so that's not fun. I think the whole crazy part of it is I was watching another YouTube channel. I'll link her down below because she's now had her baby and everything turned out great. And she had mentioned that she had cholestasis of pregnancy, and I'm part of a Facebook pregnancy group, and there was also a girl there who kind of gave information about how in her previous pregnancy she had cholestasis and she had to be induced early. And the crazy part is they were talking about intense itching. So just that they were very itchy, all over their bodies, or it can be on the palms of your hands and feet. So I'm slightly itchy, I guess. I used to be see, now I'm thinking about it, so making it worse. So back in Canada, I had extremely itchy skin. I was using the heavy Gold Bond medicated cream, And to be able to go to sleep at night, it would basically, it was my legs that were the worst, and I basically like numb my legs so I wouldn't feel the itchiness and I would go to sleep. So that's about the intensity level of itchiness I experienced in Canada. When I moved to California, I didn't even initially notice that I was no longer itchy, or I didn't really have like an itchy issue, until I went back to Canada for Christmas last year, and I was really itchy again in Canada. So I realized it's probably like the weather in Canada that's doing it to me. So reading that cholestasis causes itchiness, or like the main symptom is itchiness, did not really make me too worried. But I thought I'd get it checked out because I had noticed that I was getting re-itchy again. But I'll be honest, I don't know if you can even tell by this. We do not have air conditioning in. I don't open the windows because we still continue to have a problem with too many insects coming into our house, mainly spiders now, which is, I swear, I'm not that bad with bugs, but pregnancy I can't handle seeing bugs. I have dreams about them now. So I, kill about 2 to 3 bugs a day on average still, and that's with windows closed. If I open up windows and stuff, there's a lot more, and it's like, it starts getting like really hard to control. So I can literally see a baby spider right out of the corner of my eye that I'm going to handle after I'm finished filming. So I just thought it's because I get really sweaty, and that's probably the itchiness. I went to the doctor. It wasn't my regular OB, it was a nurse practitioner, and she didn't even seem too concerned. She said, oh, I'll ask one of the doctors that's on duty today. And then she said the doctor recommended I get tested. I go for the test, literally being like, I don't have this. Like, I totally don't have this. I'm barely itchy. Like, I just wanted to do it just to be on the safe side. And it turns out that was probably a good thing because I have cholestasis of pregnancy. So just a little overview, and I'll link like the Wikipedia page for it down below for anyone who's more interested, or I'll link some kind of page below for anyone who's interested in more information. It's pretty much a buildup of bile in the blood, and that can start to really harm the baby later on in the pregnancy, and numbers can start dramatically increasing. I'm not sure how the doctor's planning on monitoring the numbers because it took like 5 days to get the test back as it was. But pretty much I am no longer allowed to go past 38 weeks of pregnancy, which puts the birth latest at September 15th. So while the baby's not going to be a preemie, he still could be a preemie. I'm not at 37 weeks yet, but here's to hoping. I thought I was getting contractions last night, and it wasn't. Pregnancy messes with you. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to being induced just because I hear that it's a lot worse contractions. I wasn't planning on getting an epidural, and now I'm less sure about that. The whole thing can increase the rate of a C-section. I think my chances of a C-section have gone up strictly because of cholestasis of pregnancy, because the baby has a higher risk of going into distress during labor. Now I get twice a week NSTs, which I had never had an NST before. I didn't even know what it was, and it's like super easy. It's literally nothing stressful at all. But yeah, so I had that, and he's good. He's moving a lot, and now I'm really actually focusing on making sure that I do kick counts every day, although some days he literally doesn't stop moving. So then I got my butt into gear. I got the car seat installed and inspected. I have bought everything we need for the first 2 months. So we do not have a crib, the dresser, or the glider. I have them picked out, but there's no point in us buying it here and setting it up here. He's only going to be in a bassinet while here. And anyone who said that they were giving me stuff, like their hand-me-downs and stuff, I have received those. I started meal prepping, and that I posted on Instagram, and I've also been posting weekly bump shots on Instagram, and I kind of mentioned the early induction on Instagram too. So if I'm not posting here too regularly, I do still try to make sure I post regularly on Instagram. But that's pretty much where we stand on where this pregnancy is at this point. So that's like a week and a half to 2.5 weeks, and I realized that there's a baby, but like there's a baby. So I'm sure it's going to be quite the adventure trying to move with an approximately 1-month-old. Not super looking forward to that, but right now I'm just trying to focus on the fact that he's going to be here while we're here. I've set everything up like he is, you know, coming home here. I also wanted to point out for anyone who is concerned, because I asked my doctor a lot of questions, and I was concerned that possibly because he is a smaller baby, I don't think I've mentioned this in my video because I think this happened after I had that gap. But yeah, he's not a small baby. He's within the normal range, but he is a smaller baby, and I was worried that being induced early was going to make him smaller and increase his risk of a NICU stay, but my doctor said that's not really a concern. Plus, I'm going to my 36-week appointment on Friday, and she says we're doing another ultrasound then to see his size, and hopefully he's still head down. Last time when I went for my growth scan, he was head down, not facing the right direction, but at least head down. So that was kind of comforting, but I mean, now I'm going to be induced, so I'm not going to get my fully natural labor, but that's kind of how it goes. And I, you know, went into this whole thing saying I wasn't going to have a set of rules that I wanted, but preferences, but it's still really disappointing, especially once you get labeled high risk. You have to adjust to it. From what I've read online, as soon as the baby is out and everything has been cleared, so there is just some risks related to being distressed and stuff like that, being in distress while he's still in there, but once he's out, like, everything should be normal. There's no long-term effects of this, and there's not really any effects on me from this, but there is a 70 to 90% chance that any subsequent pregnancy I will have this as well. So I guess I'm pretty much almost always going to be labeled or treated as high risk. I'm going to be tested for it in every subsequent pregnancy, which I prefer, because honestly, the risks, I'm not someone who like wants to jump the gun on being induced, but trust me, I looked into it, and I would be terrified to try to keep my baby in there past 38 weeks. If you have any video suggestions for me, let me know in the comments down below. I could do what's in my hospital bag. I could give you he doesn't have a nursery right now. He just like has stuff randomly all over the house. In fact, I'm sitting right by the table where I have put his change table, or where I put his change pad on right now. So I could kind of give you a tour, maybe show you some of the stuff I bought. After he's born, I'm definitely looking to do a video on what I think was worth it and what I think I shouldn't have bought. I'm expecting that I bought things that I shouldn't have bought, but that is literally based on lifestyle and personality, and really ridiculously hard to predict before you have the baby. And remember, no matter what your financial situation is, have a great day. Bye.